Yes, I've been trying. Take it easy on me alone, 'cause you know I've been trying. Let's play one more solo for Willie Nelson.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been a hard life. It's been a long road, Lord, but I keep traveling on it. But it's taking its toll. So take it easy on me, 'cause the Lord knows. Take it easy on me, 'cause the Lord knows that. Take it easy on me, 'cause the Lord knows that I've been trying. Yes, I've been trying. Alright, we gotta speed it up a little bit here. Let's play some bluegrass music. Blues for my friend Holly here. This song is called Full Tank. This is a Sunday morning song when the guy gets up early and he has this beautiful dream of just driving in his car with the windows down with this girl, and he doesn't care where he's going, and the only problem is he didn't tell his girl about it the night before, and she's deep in sleep. And he wakes her up and she wants all the details and she wants to know when they'll be back and everything like that. And he says, just get in the car, we're going, okay? So here we go. Wait tell a little story about this next song. Is the old sages, it doesn't matter where they are. I was my life as a religious native Indian because I grew up very secular, but my parents would send me to camps in Maine for the summer, and there in this Camp Waganaki, I loved it. We would do the powwow, you know. Friday night we would go up into the woods. We all had our Indian names, and we would go up to the woods, and they would the counselors would put little bags with like candles inside it. That would be the trail. I remember the pine trees in Maine at night, and then when they would have the bonfire going really good, and we would sit all down there, and the head counselor, and he would tell us stories about the Indians, the importance of the land, and you know, how the land speaks to you, the lake speaks to you, and they all speak these languages. So I remember my dad wanted to find out, you know, after the first week he calls, he says, hey, did you get on the basketball team? Is it going good? And I said, Dad, do you know that the lake can speak to you? He said, what? I said, yeah, Dad, do you know that if you stand next to a tree, you can actually hear what it's saying? He says, son, let me speak to the head counselor. I kept doing is explaining to my dad, you know, here we do a fight, you know, this was all about Indian tribes that were living here, and so we're telling the kids about it. So that was a beautiful thing. That was really my only spiritual connection. I really, until today, I love, you know, my spiritual teachers from the Native Indian tribes. And then when I got into college, we were together. It was a liberal arts college in Skidmore College, upstate New York, and I majored in music. But what they did, they made 4 years, they made you take some other courses. So, you know, that was a struggle for me because I think I was not able to focus. I don't know if I really have that, you know, some attention span problem, but, you know, sitting in class was not my favorite thing. It was either basketball or rock and roll, you know what I'm saying? And so I took a Japanese philosophy, and I really got into the Buddha in college until today. Wow, it's one of my big teachers. And then, you know, as I was growing up, my only believing people I knew were my Uncle Leon and Aunt Connie in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. They were Italian Catholics. And so we used to go to the Jersey Shore. And on Sunday, they had 3 beautiful daughters. They were like my cousins. They weren't really my family, but they were my parents' best friends. You know, they go away all the time. And so, you know, if my 3 hot cousins are going to church, I'm going to church too. So, you know, on Sunday, I ended up going to the church on the Jersey Shore, you know. So, okay. And so I did that, and got a lot of, you know, it was interesting, kind of things, some things I connected to, some things I didn't. And then when they took me into Manhattan from the record company, I met a homeless person in Central Park. It's a true story. And anyway, make a long story short, he tells me, you know, that he prays every day with this hippie rabbi who needs someone else to help them make their service. And next thing I know, 2 weeks later, I'm playing with this hippie rabbi that played in the Berkeley Folk Festival in the 60s called Shlomo Karlibov. And he liked the way I played the blues to his music. It was kind of folk. He says, Lazer, he was asking me what my Jewish name was. I mean, I knew my parents were Jewish, but we didn't have any Jewish things going on in the house, except for the fact that my mother would invite anybody in a 100-mile radius that she heard of had a problem. They would end up living in my basement. And my dad would go along with that, you know, pretty much for a while, as long as they played by the rules, which is, you know, no drugs, no drinking, and, you know, don't have the stereo on after 12 o'clock. But, he says, what's your Jewish name? So my name was Lloyd, that's my name. I said, my name is Lazer. So the rabbi keeps calling me Lazer the whole concert. I'm playing this someplace like this in the middle of Manhattan. And the concert ends, he goes, wow, Lazer, you really play the blues great to my music. I gotta take you to Israel. I said, well, 2 things, Rabbi. First of all, my name ain't Lazer, it's Lloyd. And he says, I know. He says, it's Lazer Lloyd. He says, no matter what you want to do, you can't cancel out that laser. You're going to have to find a place for it. I said, okay. And the next thing I told him, I said, Rabbi, I'm not going to Israel. That's war and desert. You can keep me out of that gig. He said, well, just come one time and let's see if it's just war and deserts. And so I bless us all to just see things firsthand, because I was pretty blown away. It's not all wars and desert, even though there is a lot of desert and there is a lot of wars. But there's a lot of other things happening. So, yeah, I started learning. He was teaching these mystic Hasidic teachings. It was very deep. But anyway, so I don't remember if the sage who told this story was a native Indian or a Buddhist or a Hasidic master, but it really doesn't matter, because they're really all saying the same thing, that it's all just one and we're one. But anyway, the story goes like this, that the angels were speaking to God, and they said, well, God, you know, this concept that you want to make a world is a pretty good idea, but the only thing is, we can see that man and your world is going to have a lot of evil in it. So if you want to make that world, we got to find a place to hide you, because, you know, you're God, and we can't have, you know, hanging out with evil in the world. So I'm shortening the story a lot, because we came from music. So God says, well, what's your idea? So the angel says, we have this tip of the Himalayas where no one will ever get there. It's really high up. And they tell God, God says, well, I want to tell you, I see in another 10 seconds someone's going to make it there. And then after they make it there, someone else is going to want to go there. And then there'll be buses of tour groups down there, and there'll be helicopters flying to help the people who don't make it. And it's going to be quite crowded there, so I don't know if that idea is going to work. So the angels went back into the meeting. They said, well, you know what? We got another idea. We're going to put you on the moon. And so God says, well, I got a bad news for you. In another 10 seconds, you know, God's time is, you know, very quick, and we're very short, however you look at it. And so the angels, he shows them, he says, here, you see, man's going to land on the moon. And then there'll be Russian dudes, there'll be Chinese dudes, there'll be American dudes, they'll all be saying different things, and that's not going to work either. So they go back. Anyway, we don't have to go through all the other things, but at the end they say, well, God, you have an idea? He says, yeah, you can put me where no one's going to look. And they say, where?
The heart.
He says, put me in the heart.
In the heart, exactly.
I'm going to hide in the heart, because people are looking for me outside, but they're going to look for me inside. So it's called inside.
Inside. Beautiful.
Lately I've been thinking where I've been and what I've done. Lately I've been dreaming one day I will find true love. And lately I've been asking what's really going on. For hours I've been praying, one day we'll all get along. But I'm out here in the wilderness, looking for my home. Somewhere in this loneliness, we are never alone. 'Cause where I am, that's where you are. In the deepest oceans, above the stars, and in my sorrow, and in my sleep, I'm inside of you, and you are inside of me. inside of you. Somebody somewhere